Fear stops us from achieving our true greatness. Are you a professional woman who is feeling stuck, unmotivated, or burned out? Are you worried about your wellness? Are you letting fear stop you from crushing your goals? If you answered yes to any or all of these, then this is the podcast for you. Dr. Charmaine Gregory, night shift emergency physician, burnout thriver, and wellness champion, along with everyday heroes just like you, will explore how to face fear in our lives and emerge victoriously.
Hey, thanks for checking out this episode. Be sure to click the subscribe button and the notification bell so that you get notified when the next video comes out. It only takes 2 seconds to make 2 clicks. So let's do it. Let's get back to the video. Hello, 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 Fearless Freedom Tribe. Dr. G is here, and today I have Bobbi Kahler with me, and she is going to tell you about all of her awesomeness and what she is currently up to.
Well, I don't know about the awesomeness, but I'll give it a try. So my name is Bobbi Kahler, and I am a success coach, and I work a lot with entrepreneurs, successful entrepreneurs. And essentially what I do is I help people thrive in all the areas of their life that really matter to them. And I kind of operate based on 3 fundamental truths. So one is that the future can be changed. It's not set in stone. The second one is that we can change our own future. And the third one is that we don't have to wait, right? If we don't have the plan, that's okay. If we don't have all the answers, that's okay. We can get there. So that's kind of how I operate. Other than that, I live in Colorado at about 9,000 feet. I love cross-country skiing, road cycling, paddle boarding, and hanging out with my 2 dogs and my husband.
Awesome. Yeah, Colorado. That's nice.
Oh,
and
it's
so
beautiful.
where in Colorado are you?
Do you know where Grand Lake is?
Big city near there? None?
Tiny town. We're about
Tiny
2
town, okay.
hours from Denver. That's a good way to put it. The fires that came through last year, and they made the national news, they came right
Yes.
through our town.
Oh my
I
God.
mean, it was scary. I mean, it was an emergency evacuation. And it's interesting because a lot of us who were here that night, when we see the burn area, because it's completely scorched, it was like 198,000 acres. We're just
Oh my gosh.
completely scorched. It's we see if someone's having a campfire or something, and just the smell enough, it's like, oh, I don't want to be around that, because it was hard. It was a
It's
very
dramatic.
scary night. It
Yeah.
is. It was.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was
Oh
scary.
my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I can't imagine that. That's just insane.
Oh.
And then but you mentioned that so you have good cross-country skiing there, sounds like.
Oh yeah. That's why I moved here. For
Oh,
the
okay.
skiing. Yeah. The year before last, I was out 97 times, and we had a bad snow season this year. So I was only able to get out like 78 times. So,
Oh
but
my
still, that's a
gosh.
lot.
That is a lot. That is a lot. That is a
Oh, I
lot.
love it. It's just my favorite thing in the world. It really is.
It's not easy to do that thing. Because I
No.
remember we were at some years ago, this is many years ago now, when I was still pretty young, because, I'm not that young right now. But several years ago, we were in Breckenridge, I think. Breckenridge?
Yeah.
No, or was it Keystone? No, we went to Keystone because it was for a scientific meeting. And I remember trying cross-country skiing because I hadn't tried it before. And I was like, this is hard.
It is hard. It's so funny because it doesn't matter. Like, I'm active the year round, but when I go out cross-country skiing for the first time in the year, the next day you wake up and you're like, I didn't even know I had muscles where I'm hurting right now.
Oh my gosh.
It's incredible. It's just, but it's also, it's addicting, and it's peaceful out there, and you're out in nature. Your biggest concern is up here, we have a lot of moose.
Okay.
And it's like, sometimes you're skiing and you come face to face with a moose, and they're enormous, and sometimes they turn on people. So that can be a little unsettling.
Wow. That's that's intense. I mean, moose are not, yeah, like you said, not small, and they're pretty strong animals, you know.
Yeah,
So, wow.
very.
Okay,
Yeah.
do you carry like moose? Is there like a moose spray or something that you can use? No
Not
such thing.
really.
Okay,
No, no.
I
If
was
you
hopeful.
encounter, yeah, I wish. If you encounter a moose, the thing is they don't have great peripheral vision. So the thing
Okay.
is, you're supposed to get behind something, or literally, if they're following you and you just take a sudden turn, they won't necessarily see you.
Oh,
That's what I've
okay.
been told.
Okay.
I haven't had to
You
prove
haven't
that
tested the
theory
theory yet, huh?
yet,
Yeah.
and I hope I never do.
Yeah, I hope you don't have to ever test that. That would be bad.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh. Okay. So cross country. No, that's good. That's a great way to stay in shape.
yeah,
Because like you said, it's not easy to do. And because so when we were at this meeting, we definitely did quite a lot of alpine downhill skiing.
oh yeah,
And then we tried the cross country, and like I said, I thought it was the most challenging. And then we also did snowshoeing, and we did ice skating. So we just tried all the
nice.
things.
Yeah.
So it was fun. It was a lot of fun.
What was your favorite of those 4?
I still think I like downhill. Yeah,
Yeah.
I like downhill. Probably the best. Um, for like, I don't want to say adrenaline. Well, I guess I would say that. For the
There's
adrenaline part of
adrenaline.
it. For the adrenaline
Yeah.
part of it. Um, Ice skating was really difficult for me because I kept on falling and the ice was super hard.
Oh,
And so I just left with too many bruises. So I think that's why I didn't think of that one as a top choice.
yeah.
And the snowshoeing was kind of fun in that you're getting from point A to point B, but I didn't really see it as a sport. Like I saw
Mm-mm.
it more like, hey, this is just a way to get around.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's nice. It's just not my favorite, you know?
So, but I mean, I get it. Like I get the reason why it was developed, and I see the usefulness of it.
Oh,
But
yeah.
I was just kind of like, well, I'm probably not going to use this because I'm not going to be having to travel large distances like over snow and lots of
Yeah.
it. So, but it was fun. It was fun to try it.
That's fun. I'm glad you got to do that.
Yeah, because now I live someplace tropical, so it's like if I
Ah,
want to
y-
if I want to ski, I have to go to like Japan or something.
nice.
So tell us about what got you into coaching and how, because there's always a story. There's always like a reason why we get involved in helping other people. What's the deal? Like, what's your story?
There is definitely a story. So it's actually 2 people. I was like 6 years old, and a speech pathologist that the school brought in for me evaluated my speech, and he told my mom, he said, in his opinion, I had catastrophic speech problems.
Oh boy.
I was never going to recover from them. And my mom, when he told her that, and then she told me, um, she said, we're not going to listen to him because you never let someone else tell you what you can or cannot do.
Oh, smart
And
mom.
wasn't she though? I mean, think about how different my life would have been if she would have said, okay, well, that's just the way it's going to go. So she worked with me for years and years. And so she was one person. And then the second person, when I was in the 8th grade, I decided, because I still had speech problems, and I decided I really needed to challenge myself. And so I decided when I went to high school, I was going to take a speech class because I
Okay.
hated speaking in public, terrified. Like I was nauseous. I mean, it was awful. It was terrible. And so I took a speech class, and my speech teacher was Mr. Jordan. And as luck would have it, he was the speech and debate coach for our high school. So
Oh,
I gave my
nice.
first speech, and it was a train wreck. It was an absolute train wreck. Like it was supposed to be 8 minutes long. And I was so nervous and I talked so fast that it was like 5 minutes and 20 seconds, not because I forgot anything, but because I talked that fast. And I
Okay.
knew, yeah, I'm like, and I thought, okay, well, I knew I didn't do very well. And at the end, when the bell rang and class was dismissed, Mr. Jordan said to me, he's like, Bobbi, could you stick around for a minute? And I thought, he's going to kick me out of this class. Like, this is how bad I did. And instead, he said, have you ever considered joining the speech and debate team? And I remember looking at him and I said, were you in the room for that?
I know.
Because
Did you just
that
see what I
was
just did? Like,
yeah,
really?
exactly. Because I'm like, that was a train wreck. And I remember he smiled at me and he said, yeah, it wasn't very good, but I think you have potential. And he
Awesome.
said,
Awesome.
isn't that amazing? I mean, how
That's
lucky
great.
was I?
Yes.
And he told me, he's like, you know what? I think if we become a partnership, and he said, if you work as hard as I'm willing to work, he said, I think that you could be successful at this. And so I decided, I'm like, okay, well, I'll join the speech and debate team. And I
Okay.
remember we had this conversation and he said, what's your goal in joining the speech and debate team? And I said, well, I'd like to speak well enough that people don't make fun of me. And he said, that's it. That's your goal. And I said, yes, that is my goal. Because that seemed like insurmountable. And he said, okay. He goes, well, if that's your goal, we'll work from there. And he said, just so you know, though, I think you could aim higher.
Nice.
And wasn't that good? And so it was a couple months in, and because I've been going to speech and debate tournaments, and I was actually starting to do relatively well. And I remember one day I went back in his office and I knocked on the door and I said, hey, I've been thinking about my goals. And he's like, yeah, tell me about it. And I said, I was wondering, do you think if I worked hard enough, I could become competitive? And I remember he got this big smile on his face and he said, that's what I've been waiting for. And I worked with
Awesome.
him. Isn't that, I mean, that's a coach. And I think that was working with him. That's why I fell in love with coaching, because both Mr. Jordan and my mom, they really showed me that, there's such a big difference between our present performance
Mm-hmm.
and where we can be. And I fell in love with it because of that. So I think that's why I do what I do, because of those two people.
That's a fantastic story. I love it. I love it. I love that mom was like, no,
No.
my kid does not have that. Like, what is your problem? Like, come on, really?
Yeah.
You are
Yeah.
not gonna dictate my daughter's future. No,
No.
no, sir.
And you know what was really important about that too, is she refused to let me work with that speech pathologist. And I,
Because
and
she
I
knew he's a
remember,
quack.
well, that was part of it. And it was funny though, because this was a small town. When I say small town, it was a farming village, like, 50 people lived here. And so
Oh,
when,
that
when
is
people,
small.
it was small. And so when people found out that she wouldn't let me work the speech pathologist, like the principal called her, teachers called her, the school board president called her, and they're like, Kathy, why won't you let her work the speech pathologist? And I remember this, her answer was always the same. She said, why would I let her work with someone who's already decided that she's going to fail?
Yep.
And I thought,
Smart mom.
that's brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
Because what would he have coached me to?
Right. He would have to the below the medium, below the medium. It's
That's
like,
right.
oh my
Uh-uh.
gosh. Yes.
Yeah,
No, no, good for her. Good for her. She was like, you know what? I don't know what I'm doing, but I probably will do a better job than this person who doesn't believe. Right.
that's
And
right.
that's it's so true for a lot of things. Um, like within parenting, it's like a lot of times you feel like, you know what, I have no idea. I have no clue what I'm doing. But at the same time, you're like, you know what? I don't know what I'm doing, but I have the belief in my child. I have the love for my child that it will work out. And
Yep.
it usually does. So
Yeah. And that belief is so important, that, and I think there's also that commitment, like to put the work in, to put the effort in. I mean, my mom was so patient. I mean, I would struggle. I remember there were like, I couldn't say that there were a lot of words I couldn't say. One of the words I couldn't say was milk. I couldn't
okay.
make that LK sound. And she just worked with me over and over and like days and days and days. I don't know where she found the patience, but she did, and that was, I'll never forget with that too. I'd get frustrated and I'd say, I just can't say that word. And she's like, no, you can't say it yet.
Right. Right.
And there's a huge difference in those two statements. So yeah,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
she was willing to put the work in. Let's say that.
Fabulous. Fabulous.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, mom's a really terrific person, it sounds like.
She was very special.
Awesome. 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 And then for her to go against the grain like that in a small community, it takes a lot of
Oh,
moxie. Yeah.
My
Because
mom had moxie.
that's not an easy task at all.
No, it's not. Not at all. She had moxie coming out of her pores. Let me
Love
just
it.
tell you.
Love it.
Sometimes I got her into trouble, but
Well, I
sometimes it
mean,
was really
Moxie
good.
always does get you in trouble, right? Because I
That's
mean,
right.
you're not being like everybody else. You're being different, and people usually don't like that too much.
That's right. That's exactly right.
But it gets you far, though. It definitely does.
Hmm.
Oh, wow. And then to have your teacher, while you're in school, to see your potential, you know?
Hmm.
So, I don't know what he was thinking, like when he first heard your speech. He was like, "Oh, she got all that content in such a short amount of time, but she got all that content in." You know what I mean? Like, because you did you read the speech or did you know it
It
offhand?
was memorized.
Right. So you got all that content
That's
internalized,
right.
which is huge. You know what I
I
mean? So
never
it's
thought of
like,
that.
so that's the first part of being a debate person. I don't know what they call themselves. What do you call this? A debater.
Yeah,
That's the
debater.
first part of being a debater. That's the first
Hmm.
part of being a speaker, is to internalize the content. Right? Is
Yeah.
you can always work on the delivery, but
Hmm.
if you don't know the content, then you don't have a speech.
That's right. I never really thought of it that way before. I was so focused on what were you thinking? But I was just nervous. But yeah, I mean, I knew all the content. And the other thing is, I was passionate about the content, you
Nice.
know? Yeah, it was funny.
Nice. Yeah. So he saw your passion. He saw that you had the intellect to be able to do the thing. And he was like, you know what? This is a diamond in the rough. I can just like help her along. And I love how he facilitated your discovery, like your self discovery. Like he didn't just
Mhm.
say outright that, no, your goal should be this. Like,
Yeah,
heard your goal, he listened to you, which is like a huge deal, right? He listened to you and he acknowledged it and he said, okay, this is your goal, this is what you want to do, okay, and then
mhm.
let's work towards it, and did not push you further. This kept on exposing you to opportunity, right? This kept
Yep,
on having you go to the competitions and seeing what is possible, and then from there you came to your own realization that this is a possibility for you. And then you came back to him and said, you know what? I have new goals.
that's
That's
right.
actually pretty genius coaching on his
It's
part.
it's very good. And that whole thing around the possibilities, right? Exposing someone to that raises your awareness so that then you're kind of willing to step into those possibilities. So yeah, I was lucky. I mean, I was blessed to have worked with him.
Absolutely. And it kind of speaks to that whole thing of, people say this and it's really, really true. Like it takes a lot more to get over the hurdle of becoming something that you cannot see. Right? It takes a lot more energy
Yeah.
to get over that. Now, it's a lot easier when someone puts that in front of you. Like when you're seeing something and you're seeing people, or you're seeing a destination that is attainable because someone has attained it
Mm,
or someone
yeah.
has been there. And so, that part of the coaching that he did with you was really genius because you know you can describe something, you can tell it to somebody, particularly young people, because they're like, so they're impressionable, but at the same time they kind of are, still the frontal lobe's not completely developed, so they're still like, trying to test the waters and figure things out, and see what can I do that's super dangerous without killing myself, kind of deal.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so, they don't always want to listen to the adults. And so for him to put you in a position where you got the exposure so that you could see what you can become, right?
Yep.
Despite what, our little friend, Mr. Quackery over there described, um, that I think is just really, really great. Now, are you
Yeah.
still in contact with that teacher or
We are connected via Facebook and we message each
awesome?
other. And it was funny because I reached out to him and this was in the last year and I thanked him again. Um, and I described that interaction and because my question to him was, did you know that it was a significant event for me when he asked me to join the speech and debate team? And he said, Bobby, he said, as a teacher, he said, I always wanted every person to know that they had greater potential. And he said, now, sometimes you extend that invitation and people refuse it because they're not ready.
Sure.
And he said, but he said, my job was to extend the invitation and to create the space. And he said, it just, and I thought that's just a lovely way to look at it, you know?
Wow. Wow.
Hmm.
That's great. And
Yeah.
now, because of that one action, lots of people's lives have been impacted.
Yeah.
So that's incredible. It's like
It,
that one action has a ripple effect. So that's really neat.
huge, yeah, huge ripple effect, right? And that's kind of like years ago, it was volunteer work. I worked with high school students and we did leadership retreats. And I always loved it because like you'd have 80 students there and, and then they'd leave after the weekend and they'd go out but what they learned changed their lives. And then they went out and changed other people's lives. And it's
Oh,
just this
nice.
bigger and bigger ripple effect. And I'm like one of the kids who went through with me, his name was Trey. And I think he lived in the inner city in Indianapolis. And he left and he said, I want to create something better for my brother, like a place for him to have a place after school. And so he created it's like a service organization for young kids. And he said that way, he doesn't even have to consider a gang or something like that. And I
Nice.
thought, that is amazing. Because now think about how Trey has changed his brother's lives and all those other kids' lives. And that's why, I don't know, it gets me excited because
No, I mean
that's how we change the world.
that is exactly how we change the world. That is exactly how. And so no, that's incredible.
Yeah.
And so you have to let the tribe know how they can get in contact with you and find out about all of the things that you offer. So you just mentioned, the program, but are there other things that are available to young people, or is it specifically like who do you serve?
Yeah. Right now, I serve mainly entrepreneurs and then also like director level within organizations, directors, managers, VPs, that type of thing. Um, I am always looking for new volunteer opportunities for high school students. And I've also done things like, I don't know if you've heard of a program called Girls on the Run.
Oh yeah.
It's for,
Uh-huh.
oh, it's an amazing, I was a coach for them. It was amazing. I mean, just an amazing thing. And so how people can reach me, my website is just bobbykahler.com. And that's a great way to get in touch with me. Also, I'm on LinkedIn quite a bit. It's just Bobbi Kahler. And
And you
I'm
have to
pretty
let people
active
know
there.
how you spell Kaler, just because,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. And so in my first name is also different because it's just Bobbi, no E. My mom was very specific, no E. My birth certificate was actually wrong. It had an E on it, and she went through the trouble of getting it fixed. So it's just Bobbi with no E. And then Kahler is Kahler.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah,
Awesome. Awesome. And then from the site, they can get to all of the services and programs that you offer.
all of it. Plus my blog, the link to my podcast is there. Yeah, they can find out all about me there.
Fantastic. Yay. Okay.
Yeah,
Cool. And coming to us from Colorado.
that's right. The land is snow, except not right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, summertime, but in general, yes, you guys get a
Yeah.
lot of snow, a lot of snow. I've been to Colorado a couple of times, usually for meetings. The last time
Yep.
I was there was probably, wow, 2019, actually, right before we had our
Wow.
little situation. I was there for American College of Emergency Physicians annual meeting, and we had it in Denver.
Nice.
Yeah, it was
Oh
cool.
man.
It was
Yep.
nice. We had a
It's a
big
beautiful
we had a
state.
big bear outside of the convention center. Is that bear there all the time, or is there like
I
a
don't
big
even
blue
know.
bear always there? So they had a big blue bear, and I thought it was really cool because they had the bear with a stethoscope around its neck,
Oh my
because there's a bunch of
goodness.
doctors there. And so
Yeah.
it was really, really cool. And of course, it was, I want to say it was in October. And I was not
Mm,
expecting that it was going to snow, but it did. It snowed. It didn't snow to the extent of like, having ability to do something with it, like within the city, right? I mean,
yeah.
I'm sure it probably got a lot more snow like up. up in the mountains. But so it was kind of funny because I was like, "Oh, okay, this is like the annoying kind of snow, the one that like
That's
kind of
right.
just, it just makes you cold, but doesn't really, you can't really use it for anything."
Yeah. It's cold and
But
slushy, at
yes,
that point.
exactly.
Yeah.
So, but it was fun. It was fun. It was fun. Denver was a cool place to visit. And then Keystone was also really cool.
Yeah.
But I
It's a
haven't been
beautiful
to
state.
like any of the other places because there's like is there one called Colorado Springs?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's south
That's
of
another
Denver. Yep.
larger city, right?
It is growing so fast. It's amazing down there. And that's where
Okay.
Pikes Peak is and Garden of the Gods. And it's
Okay.
beautiful. Yeah. It's a
Okay.
beautiful place.
Yeah, so that's about all of my
You're-
Colorado adventures.
yeah. Well, hey, you saw some good things. That's the most important thing.
Yeah, no, it was fun. It was fun for sure, for sure. Awesome. So, you mentioned paddling. You say paddling?
Paddle
So like
boarding.
paddle boarding. So I wonder if it's the
Yeah.
same thing I'm thinking about. So it's like a surfboard and you have an oar,
Yeah.
correct?
And you stand up and you paddle.
Okay, so it is the same thing. All right, cool.
Yep. Yeah. I love it.
So so that must mean that where you live is near water.
we live in a little community and we're about 200 steps to a small lake, big enough to
Okay,
paddleboard on. And then we've got the three big lakes, I don't know, 2 miles away. That's where they start.
got it.
They're
Okay.
beautiful. The deepest, I think Grand Lake is the deepest lake at this at elevation, either in the country or the world. It's very, very
Oh,
deep.
okay.
And yeah, so it's beautiful. We get a lot of tourists up here in the summertime for that.
I'm sure. I'm sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No, that's cool. Yeah, paddleboarding is cool. And you
Yeah.
stand and do it?
Yep. That's
So that
usually,
tells
unless
me that you have a very strong core.
I have well, especially because of the biking and the cross country skiing. I do have a pretty strong core. Yeah,
Yeah.
thankfully.
The reason why I know that is because we went to Saipan last weekend for our anniversary and
Nice.
we tried paddleboarding for the first time. And first we started off because of course, the locals there are like, oh yeah, just try sitting on it first and then try kneeling and then you could try standing. So we were doing it sitting first and then we went to kneeling and that was pretty good. I didn't feel like I was going to turn over in the water at any moment. But then I decided I was going to face my fear because the tribe knows I'm always looking for ways.
That's right.
And so I was going to face my fear and I was going to stand on this thing. And so, of course, I like wiped out a ton of times. But then this one time, I was able to stand for a whole like 2 minutes.
Wow.
It was amazing. But the whole time, I literally was just like this, wobbling. People can't see me, but I'm
Yep.
wobbling, back and forth. And I'm like, why can't I keep still on this thing, And I found the reason was because my core is not that strong. I feel like if I had a strong core, that would allow for me to like stabilize my middle and
Yep.
like the center of gravity would be literally in the middle, so I wouldn't be like shifting my weight back and forth like I was, to make it so unstable being on the board.
Yeah.
But it was fun. I mean, it was a lot of
Oh,
fun. I am definitely gonna try it again. I
it's a
had kind of like
blast.
not, yeah. I didn't really know. I was kind of like, oh, I don't know what about that, but I tried it and I actually liked it, and so now I think I'll probably go out here and try it a little bit more and
Yeah.
see how it goes.
And it's one of those things too. Yeah. The core helps. And then the more that you do it, your legs and your feet kind of get, I don't know, they get adjusted to it, like the way that they ground themselves into the board. So the more you do it, it just becomes easier, just kind of naturally anyway.
And of course, there are a whole bunch of like little kids that's zipping by
Oh
us.
yeah.
I said, this is how I felt when I was on that mountain in Colorado. All these
Yeah.
little kids with no poles just zipping by and like
Yeah.
laughing at me as I fell,
And they have
And it
no
was just
fear about it whatsoever.
zero. And they're like, whatever, I'm close to the ground. It's like no big deal if
That's
I
right.
fall. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're in a different boat.
Yep. Completely.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, no, paddleboarding is fun. Here they have a sport. It's kind of like crew, but it's not. It's called paddling. But it's basically the boats are long boats, but they have an extension on them. Like the
Wow.
thing comes over and then there's like another like buoyant thing that is attached to it. And basically it's traditional, like the traditional boats of the indigenous people here, but there's like a coxswain and then there, like they row as a team. It's
Oh
really cool to
man,
watch. Yeah, it's neat, really
that'd be
neat.
cool. I love rowing. I haven't done that in years, but I love the way that they just work in unison. It's
Yes.
amazing to me. And there's so much work that goes into it. It's not doesn't just happen.
No.
No,
No.
not by any stretch of the imagination.
Definitely does not. And your whole body is involved. Your
Oh
legs,
yeah.
your back,
Another
your
great
arms, your
workout.
shoulders. Yes, yes. It's incredible. Absolutely incredible workout. That is for certain. Awesome. This has been such a really cool conversation, Bobby. I appreciate you sharing the stories of the two important people in your life that have influenced the trajectory of your life. And that is just amazing. And I know
Yeah.
that that story is encouraging, you know, a lot of people who are listening because we're not immune to being told we can't do something or that
Mm.
someone that we love can't do something, and being in the position of which way am I going to go with this? Am I going to accept the advice of the quote unquote professional, or am I going to go with what I believe to be true and actually almost do the opposite and make sure
Yeah.
that my loved one thrives? So, that is a huge move of bravery and that your mom undertook. And then kudos to your teacher for seeing the potential in you and
Yeah.
recognizing it to the point where he felt like he could cultivate it, and then guiding you without being oppressive, I guess. I don't know, maybe oppressive
Yeah.
is not the right word, but guiding you through, like being a mediator instead of like and a facilitator, being a facilitator instead of like, this is how you should do it and this is what you should do and these should be your goals. And so I think that's so important because oftentimes we do need to have that like self discovery. We need to have that self realization in order for us to have the true buy in to
Yep.
realize that we could be awesome, right? I mean,
Yeah.
until you truly believe it, you're never gonna be it, right? Like
Nope.
you're never going to accept the fact that you can be better tomorrow than you were yesterday. Like you won't accept
Yeah.
it because you'll be like, no, I'll just stay right here. I'm good,
Yep.
you know. So,
And I was
kudos to those
terrified.
people.
Yeah. Because I was terrified. I remember the first tournament I went to. I was completely terrified to do it. And he just kind of held that space. And so yeah, I was blessed.
No, it's a fantastic opportunity. So, yeah, and clearly you've taken full advantage and you've been paying it forward as well. So, and I think that part is the part that is most telling, right? Because we can be given
Mhm.
gifts, we can be given opportunities, but it's what we do in return. Right. You have definitely, you're constantly looking for opportunities where you can help, young people who are in the same shoes as you were, help
Yeah.
them to be better. So that's how you're paying it forward. So, and as a result of that, you're getting a continual ripple effect of people paying it forward. So, that's like the best gift that you could give your mom. That's like the best gift that you can give your teacher, because that's like a almost like a perpetual gift. It's pretty cool, you
It's
know?
part of their legacy, right?
Exactly, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. No, that's awesome. That is so awesome. So the audience knows how to get in contact with you. They're gonna go to BOBBIKAHLER.com and check out all the amazing things that you have there. And they're gonna reach out to you if they feel like you are a fit, right? They're gonna reach out to you and they're
Perfect.
gonna get involved with you. Now we are at that point in the show where we do our fill in the blanks. Okay. This is
Oh,
our
okay.
tradition on the show. And I have a question for you before we get started.
Okay.
Are you ready? You
Yes,
ready
I
to fill in the
am.
blanks? Okay. All right. Great.
Yes, I am. I think so.
Great. Great.
Depends.
All right. So the first one is, if I am fearless, I will.
I will pursue my passions and my dreams no matter what.
Nice. Nice. The next one is, to me, fearless freedom means.
Choosing courage, even if I feel fear.
Sweet. Sweet. And then last but not least, my battle cry is.
My battle cry is be my own hero, right? And then it's also related to what my mom said when she said, never let someone else tell you what you can or cannot do. I've kind of swizzled that into decide for myself what my limitations are. Someone else doesn't get to tell me that.
Amen. Love it.
My mom comes back again.
I know. Mama she's the bomb, it seems like. Oh, yeah. So yeah, no, thank you so much. I appreciate your time. And thank you for giving to the Fearless Freedom Tribe. We really appreciate it. And we wish you all the best, Bobbi Kahler.
Thank you. It was my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. Thank you for joining me on this episode of Fearless Freedom with Dr. G. Again, I'm Dr. G. And if you like this episode, be sure to subscribe so that you can get notified of when the next episode is going to be. And also, I'll catch you next time. Have a great one. Be strong, be brave, and unleash your greatness.